I'm with Nick Le Cornu doing his door knocking in, because he's a candidate in St Helier South, and we're in a flat of a lady who's in that. Her name's Anne, and we're just talking to her about her circumstances. Fairly typical, I feel sure, of many others. But tell us, Anne, just briefly, your circumstances. What are you? You married, single? What are you?
I'm single. I'm unemployed at this moment, but I am hoping to change my career, and I'm going through, is it Jets Employment Trust, which hopefully I'm going to do a career within childcare, a TA assistant. I need to do the training, but I'm more than willing to do it.
Do you get paid for doing the training?
No.
You won't?
I won't, but I will get assistance within the help
Right.
to go forward for these courses to better myself in life and do a career where I know I'm not going to damage my body.
Right.
Because unfortunately, I wouldn't say class myself as disabled, but I have got, issues with my bones. My bones aren't good. It's just one of them. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Right.
But I need to, because I've got a child, I also have to be aware that I can't do things like I used to willy-nilly. And I need to change my career in order to, better myself and not have further surgery, really.
How many children? You got one child?
I've got one boy, yeah.
One little boy. What assistance do you get because a parent and child? Do you get extras? Do you get financial extras? Obviously, there must be child allowance of some sort.
Not really. I don't get support off the father at all. The little one gets about £60 from income support.
Right.
But then that does not cover anything. And even with the money I do get, it doesn't, I literally scratch by. And if it wasn't, I'm quite fortunate with the friends I have. If, say for instance, if there's a little job that they need doing, I'm more than happy to do it. And even then, I don't ask for payment. They choose to help me by either, giving me a little bit of food here, paying for my child to go out and actually enjoy himself somewhere. Whereas I financially can't afford to do that because I have to keep a roof over my head, electric.
The roof.
In the
How
house.
much does the roof, which is an Andean flat, a one-bedroom Andean flat, as far as I can see, is it one bed?
2 bedroom.
Two is a two-bed. What's the rent on that?
I don't actually pay for the rent. Income support
Do
but I
the
get
whole lot?
The whole lot.
Oh,
but
right.
I do. I have to pay for the rest of the stuff, like say the decor. Like I've only just painted in here.
Right.
And they have come into the house and
Right.
they've checked the fuses, but yet they've pulled the paint off. So then I have to go and
Right.
all over again and repaint it. The damage that's occurring in the house as well. I've been left for probably 6-7 months where there's been so much damp coming in.
Right.
And I've had pneumonia previously.
Right.
And it's just like,
And your little boy doesn't suffer from asthma, those sort of things, or he doesn't get chest diseases?
He does get chest infections,
Does he?
yeah. But the damp's only in my room. It's more severe in my room to the point where
Right.
the actual brick is falling, the wood's rotten,
Right.
and
And what does
I'm
the
left with
maintenance department of Andium say about that? Do they?
to be honest, there's different departments.
Right.
There's Colton, there's AFM.
Right.
The guys from Colton, they do try their best, but they can only do so much
Right.
because the damage is from the outside of the building, not the inside.
Right. Okay. I mean, I live in Le Marais, which I've just been moved from one block to another, and I must say I've been treated reasonably well by Andium.
Yeah.
Of course, they're crisp and fancy and all freshly painted and so
Yes.
on. So we don't expect too many things to go wrong. Now, this flat has been here, I don't know how many years, 10, 15 years, I guess.
70s, it seems.
Well, I don't know.
Years
But
later.
obviously buildings, and it's fairly intense. It's fully occupied all the time, I would guess.
Yeah.
So it gets quite well used, and buildings do deteriorate. So if you had the opportunity, if Andium would move you to another flat, would that be of any interest to you?
I would love to move to a flat where I've got ground floor. I don't have to worry about if the lift's broken down because
Right.
I have got hip issues. I suffer with hip dysplasia as well as osteoarthritis.
Right.
At the age of 21, I had to have a hip replacement, but I didn't get it done till 24.
You had a hip done? Oh, really?
Total hip replacement, ball and socket.
Oh, really?
And the parking situation, especially with a child, I mean, I've got to park up at Keith Bell Gardens.
Where's that? How far?
It's not too far, but it's
A
beside
walk,
it's a
which
walk.
is painful walk, is it?
It can be, especially if I've got to carry stuff home with me, like shopping, and sometimes the neighbours on this road where I have parked the car
That's
today.
not around your building, so you've got like a
No,
park.
that's a private
Is it?
building apparently, and they get really shirty with me, and I've explained to them saying, look, I can't carry shopping from where I do park my car. It's impossible, and with a child that goes, that's hyper. I need to park the car here for a couple of minutes because I can't park it on the road or I'll get fined. And I'll be in someone's way, obstructing like a bus coming down. Could you just give me a couple of minutes to put things away, and I will be down. I will move the car, and the abuse I get sometimes, it's atrocious.
How old is your child now, the boy?
He's just turned 7.
So he needs to go out and play somewhere.
Yes.
Where can he play here?
Hal Davis Park, but he's got nowhere to play around
Right.
here.
There's no immediate facility.
No.
No, nothing. And are there other children in the block, or is it just only the one?
He is the youngest one in here.
Right.
There's another little boy upstairs, but
Right.
he's 50-50 with the mum and dad.
Right. In round terms, what's your total income per week? What do you have to live on?
I live off 250, but that doesn't include electric, bills.
Right.
Like, I haven't got a house phone. I have a mobile because I can't afford the internet. And
Right.
I've got a car which I got scammed on 2 cars. And
Because
Yeah.
if life is getting, if you don't use the internet, you can't live.
no, and I think it's
Have you got
ridiculous.
a smartphone, have you?
I've only got my iPhone and that's it.
Yeah.
And even then I've had to go and get another one which financially I can't afford, but I've got no other way of, like, my mum's got no other way of getting hold of me. If something was to happen to the little one at school, I've got nothing else apart from my phone.
Nick's,
I've got
as you know,
the
Nick
TV.
is trying to be your deputy for this area.
Yeah.
If he's successful, but there will be others, some 4 deputies will be chosen. Would you have a dialogue with them about your circumstances? Would you say this needs to be dealt with? What would be the priorities for you?
I mean, like, my priority for me is making sure that where you're living and the cost of living as well, food. I mean, okay, I'm quite a big person, but I go without food to make sure that my child gets the right nutrients as he's growing, but then I'm so tired, I don't know if I'm coming or going half the time, because I can't function. And the only way I can function, which is really bad, is if I drink multiple amounts of coffee, because the milk will fill you up, in order to make sure that he's getting what he needs nutrient-wise. And electric, clothing is becoming difficult now for me to get him. Thank God I've got my family, they'll give a tenner here, a tenner there. Even there's other grandparents, like, but I shouldn't have to rely on other people.
Well, it's almost a bit like a charity. Do you deal with the charities at all? Are they of any help to you?
I'm actually involved with Grace's Trust,
Right.
and I'm thankful. If it wasn't for them, I don't know where I'd be. I'd probably be in the dump somewhere picking food out.
Tell us how they operate. A lot of people don't.
They're-
They've heard of it, but they don't know
They're
what it
really
does.
good. Like, if you're struggling, like, I don't want to take the mickey. There'll be, like, say, 2 weeks in a month where I really can't get anything in. Can't get electric. I can't get, the most simple things because it's too expensive.
Do you have an electric card to pay as you go?
I have to do pay as you go because I'd be too frightened not to. I wouldn't know what I'm spending, where it's going,
Right.
and how much it would be if it was just, not on the meter, basically.
During the winter, obviously we had a relatively light winter last week, but during the winter, how much electricity are you using? Is it a huge amount?
It is a huge amount, yeah.
Is it?
It is a huge amount because the way that the building is built, it's like a hurricane at the back,
Right.
hurricane at the front.
Right.
It's Baltic in here, and I mean, I'm spending, for a single person with one income coming in, I'm spending about 60-70 a month. And that's not tallying up the other bills that have to come out at the same time.
Right. Have you ever had any problems with the electricity company? They ever threatened to cut you off?
No, because if I have to, like, God forbid, like, I'm just going to be open about it. If I need to do a little quiet job in order to actually get electric and get some food in here, I will do it. Even if it breaks my back, it could be 20 quid. I need to make sure that my son's got a roof and food in his belly.
Because you've got health issues, does that mean you have a higher than usual doctor's bill? Do you have to pay for the doctor?
I do pay for the doctor, but what I've done to cover myself since last year was that I was putting a tenner in a week.
Right.
And there's moments where I can get quite poorly and I could be in probably every 2 weeks, like during the winter, because I do get quite bad chest infections because my lungs are quite scarred from my previous property that I lived in, which the damp was just everywhere, and I caught quite a bad and severe infection of pneumonia where it took up my whole lung and it nearly collapsed.
Right.
And
Are you on? Do you regularly see the doctor now for those sorts of ailments?
here and there I do, yeah.
Okay. And how about the boy? Has he got any issues of that sort, chest problems?
He does get chest infections here and there, but I try to jump as quick as I can on it. When it comes to him, I don't care if I'm in debt. I would rather make sure that he got.
No, he's obviously he's at school, what I would have called junior school when I used to go to school.
Yeah.
I don't know what they call it now. I have no idea.
Primary.
Primary, they call it now. Does that entail extra cost, or is that?
There are costs, like, say, if he was to do an activity, like an after-school activity, there would be a cost there. Or when I go to work, hopefully, and I'm looking forward to when I do, because it'll just give me and him a better life. But there would be costs if he was to do after-school club or.
How does he get to
like
school
that.
now? Does he walk? Do you walk into school?
No, luckily I've got a car,
The car.
but I'm still paying that car off.
Right. Right.
Because I got scammed on 2 cars. I needed a car that was reliable without being scammed on, and I had to do a closed finance through my mum.
Right. Right. So, Nikolai, if you're the deputy, well, I mean, these cases exist. This is a very rich island. Now,
What we're seeing are the inequalities in this island.
indeed we are.
Some
Oh,
people
you
don't
are.
know that people like Anne exist. They don't want to know such people exist.
Well, superficially it looks very nice, and you go out in a nice little frontage on the building, little flats, and it sounds okay, but when you dig a little bit, you find out how people are surviving.
I know this building of old from having canvassed here before, and I can see the circumstances that people live in here. It's not a particularly nice block. I mean, my suggestion was it should be knocked down and rebuilt.
Well, it's named
an
after
afterthought building.
it's named after a state's member, so I don't know what he'd think about that.
Oh, tough. If it needs rebuilding, it needs rebuilding.
that's his monument for history.
I can call it I don't know, Chateau Le Cornu.
Chateau Le Cornu, yes, that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
The new one.
The prognosis, I mean, obviously it's worrying. You're a single mum. I've had no children. I couldn't cope with children. But you're a single mum. That must have its own worries about it. Because if you're ill one day and you can't look after your boy, who looks after him?
I have to ask my mum, but my mum's not exactly a very fit woman herself.
Right.
And then we've got our grandmother to tend to, who is basically, she's on cardiac arrest basically, and this could be we don't know when she's going to go, and we all do pull our weight to tend to her, especially my mum, me and her sister.
What age is she?
My grandmother is, I think, 87.
Right.
But there's moments, because of the language barrier as well, there could be moments where my mum could be working elsewhere and it's like, look, the ambulance has been called, can you please go and see if she's okay? And there's moments where I'm not going to lie, I will put my foot down to go and see if she's okay, because you see the ambulance driving straight past you and your heart goes to the dozen. Like, is she alright? Is she fallen? She's cracked her head open? Is she bleeding? It does make you worry.
Would it possibly, I mean, would you, like lots of people are leaving Jersey at the moment, are your circumstances such that you could see a better position if you left Jersey?
Yeah.
You would actually consider that, would you?
I would love to leave this island. I hate how this island's gone.
Right. Very
I'm
sad.
Jersey born, yes, I'm half Portuguese, but looking back at when I was a child, I could, with my first wage when I was 21, I went shopping for my mum and my sister and me. I came back with probably 10 bags of shopping, 60, 70 quid.
Right.
You go to the shops now, 70 quid gets you 2 bags of shopping. If I had my own little plot, like a little garden, I'd grow my own stuff and not bother with the shops because I find it ridiculously expensive.
Approximately how many years have you lived in this flat?
I've been here probably 4 or 5, I think.
Have we ever seen a States member here? Apart from Nicholas?
I've knocked several times.
Probably. I think I've seen you once.
Yeah,
It's just whether I've done anything about
we
it
had
or
a long
not.
chat.
Yes.
Any others? Any other States members?
They've tried, I've just gone, I'm sorry, go away, I'm not interested.
Really?
Because are we actually being heard? What is,
No is the answer.
what are these people actually, okay, people want us to vote for them, but what's the point of voting for them if we're not seeing anything come back? Our voices aren't being heard. It's just like, yeah, we know your situation, fine, you know, we'll just brush you under the carpet. And that's how a lot of people do feel. And nothing counts. The rich get richer, you get by, you just get by, the poor get poorer.
Do you have friends in similar circumstances?
They have been in similar circumstances. I mean, I've had a friend where she's had no food, she's had 3 children, and she wasn't well. And I was like, okay, well, no, I'm going to go and help you. You know, this, to me, I feel that a lot of people within my situation, we do help each other a lot because that's how we should be. That's how the world should be. We should be assisting each other, not just being greedy buggers. Because, I'm sorry, I know I sound really rude when I say that, but I do find.
Do you know people
the
who
island
are
greedy.
leaving the island? Who are they?
There's so many, so many. My
Do you know any
friend,
personally who?
I don't know any personally, but I know I've got a couple of friends, they've got their own businesses, and even they're like, I'm losing all my clients. My clients are leaving the islands because they can't afford it. It's ridiculous. It's I can't even put it to words, like my mind just goes out a
Is it sort of
thousand miles.
hairdressing, is it? Yeah.
Hairdressing,
Yeah.
yeah. Because it does go to, everyone is leaving because, hell, you can't live over here. You just get by. If you're just getting by now, what's it going to be like in a year or two to come? To the point where you're begging. And the old expression, beggars can't be choosers, and that's exactly how I feel. Even though my home is, as you know, it's lived in, it's tidy, but I struggle to get food, and I'm running out of energy because I can't. I'd rather feed him, my boy, than feed myself. But then I am running out of energy, I am getting tired, I am getting a bit shirty with certain situations, even when it comes to like a job.
Well, you mentioned Keith Bale Gardens, and I did meet one lady, and outside her door was this big box of Waitrose unsold last day products.
Oh, the Olio.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you deal with
And-
Olio?
I do, but sometimes when I go, what's the point to bring it into my house and then it's off the next day?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good scheme in theory, isn't it? It does.
There's a lot of vegetables and things, and
Yeah.
she said that others were coming to take all
But it
the
shouldn't-
make
it-
leek soup or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Environmentally, it's a good idea that they're trying not to waste food, but on the other hand, it shouldn't be that people are dependent on Olio,
No.
is it? It shouldn't be. It's useful, but
It's useful if it comes to say like tins and things like
Right.
that, but I mean,
Seem to be all fresh products.
it's the fresh products,
Yeah, on
and
the last day.
I certainly don't want to be living on tin food.
no.
I don't think anyone does. I mean, that's not. Where's the nutrients from that? Especially if you are if you have got a family of say 3, 1, 2, 4, you need the nutrients for the children. Us as adults, yeah, okay, we need nutrients, but not as much as what they do.
We better stop. Are there any other elements that you would like Nick to understand?
I don't know how to put it to you. I could tell you so much, but right now I can't think of anything because I am being put on the spot sort of thing, and I'm sure you are. But, like, how would you go about maybe looking at the cost of living? The expense of living?
That's the question for the island, and that's one for the government to look at. I think they're going to have to introduce emergency budget and funnel money to people who, like yourself, who are in.
I just find it
Emergency
mind-boggling. The fact that it is an emergency, why is the food still going up?
Mm.
That to me, worldwide, and you know, why is the cost of food going up? If they know that we're in a crisis, why doesn't the food come down? Or is it going to get to the point where you're in a crisis and the food is going up?
It's a worldwide phenomenon. I mean, places probably like Egypt, Morocco, are they not getting all their grain, for example, from Russia and Ukraine? There will soon be riots, food riots,
Yeah.
and governments will topple.
The department you're most likely to deal with, I guess, is Social Security, or whatever they call themselves now. Which is, do you find them helpful, Social Security?
They are helpful. I am getting what I'm entitled to, but at the same time, they can only help so much. If the food's going up continuously, like how much more can they do for us? It's down. Like, yeah, okay, I know income support's part of the government and all that, but the cost of food, it's ridiculous. Since COVID, it's gone up, what, 2-3 times? A packet of small chicken, 3 breasts, nearly 8 quid. That's ridiculous.
£36 for a leg of lamb.
Exactly.
What?
And what's next? They're going to start charging 10 quid, 20 quid for a toilet roll, toiletries. I mean, toothpaste, 4 bloody quid, just to keep your mouth clean. But yeah, if that's the case, they want us. For example, if I was to go to the dentist, I'd have to get the okay from income support first. Even if I was in excruciating pain, pull the teeth out. No, don't pull my bloody teeth out. Why do you have to pull my teeth out? Because you don't want to pay it.
Does your boy have a dentist? Because that's another problem. There aren't enough dentists.
He's with the hospital one.
Is he?
Yeah.
And they manage to see him if he needs to be seen?
If I ask them, look, he needs to be seen, this is important, I'm concerned about this, they are quite good. I can't fault them.
Okay.
But if you're
So
not
some
working,
good news there, Nicholas.
Oh yes, there's a children's scheme which works.
But they haven't had the private dentist rates, as far as I know, haven't been put up for about 25 years for the private dentist to treat children. For some reason, I don't ask me why, I'm not up to fait with it. So that's why you finish up having to go to the hospital for children's treatment, which if it works, there's nothing wrong with that, but as long as you get the treatment the child needs. You don't want him howling with toothache all night, do you?
No. I mean, we can't cope with it as an adult, let alone a child having to go through it.
Okay, Nicholas, well, you know the situation. You're knocking on doors, you're discovering people like Anne who are not enjoying the good life.
Yeah, quite. And we want this video to demonstrate that there is another Jersey which is being ignored by the elites. They just don't accept that they exist. And these are authentic voices. And that's what we want to put out there. As we've been doing a whole series of them, and it's not new. We've been doing them for years, and they're completely ignored. And those people know they're ignored, and that's why they don't vote. But
no one can be asked because they just think it's a whole palaver and the government's corrupt.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm being blunt. Everyone, you ask anyone, in all honesty, you put something out there, does the whole island think the government's corrupt, yes or no? You'll get 1,000% yes.
But on this occasion, you are voting, I imagine.
I will be if.
Well, I hope so. I hope Mr. Le Cornu is one of you.
No, I will be voting as long as, like, I'm not asking for a quick fix or anything, but changes do need to be made. Because Rome wasn't built in a day, and I completely get that, but things need to start changing because me, myself, as a Jersey-born person, I hate this island. I cannot stand it. I'd rather go somewhere where I would be able to get a bit of land, I would be able to grow my own food, work as well, but have my little bit where I don't need to struggle. Whereas I'm in a tiny little flat, just get by, go to the shop, you can't get nothing. 50 quid, you come home with 1 bag. No, I don't want to keep struggling and living my life like this because I feel miserable. I feel like I'm not having a quality of life. Yes, we're fortunate we've got beaches and all that, but
they're nice in February.
I don't care. I still go swimming in the winter. It
We
doesn't
do,
bother me.
really?
Yeah.
Oh well. We must stop. We must stop.
Right.
Thank you for your
Thank you very
time.
much.
Sorry.